So working with a multi-body file is a great way to work on our design, keep everything nice and neat together, but there may be a time where we actually need to have each of these individual bodies in their own part file. Maybe we want to shell them or work on additional features in their own little window. We've got the ability to come over here to the Solid Bodies folder, and if we right click on one of the bodies, we can actually come in and say Insert into a new part. Now when we do this, we've got the ability to come in and give it a name. We'll call this the top. And we want to keep the visual properties. That's usually a default we want to do. Override default template settings. Do we want to use a different template to pull this part into? We'll just leave that alone for now. Say OK to that. We want to change the units. So the template that's the default is different than what we've got here. Maybe it's millimeters. We'll use the same one that's in the template. So now we've got our part here in its own little window. We've got a pointer back to the original body, so any changes that are made back at the original part will propagate on here. But we've got the ability, maybe we want to add some mounting bosses to this part, do something else to it, maybe shell it once we get it over into this location and do all the detail work. Okay, so we've got a separate part here. Let's go ahead and close that and go back to the main part here. If we go to Insert, Features, we've got the option for Save Bodies. Let's see how this works. If we come in here and we want to actually save these guys out to different files, we can check those. So this is similar to the split command. This is actually going to go ahead and force them out into separate files. Split 1 and split 2, it keeps the name of the body. We can come in and use those names, or we can rename them here. We can just come in and double click there. So we'll call this the top number 2, and we'll make this the, just to match, we'll do bottom 2 as well. Same thing with propagate visual properties. Consume cut bodies will actually remove any bodies that we save out from this part. Create custom properties, or copy the custom properties to the new parts. That works as well. And we've also got the ability to come in and create an assembly. So we hit the browse button. It really just wants us to give us a name. So this is our power strip assembly. Derive resulting parts from similar bodies or cut list. So that's going to be if we've got parts that kind of match. And again with the template settings. We'll go ahead and say OK and see what happens. We'll say no, we're going to use the ones in the template. Part 1, Part 2, rebuild and save. So we're back here to our original part. Let's see what happens at the bottom. There's actually a Save Bodies feature here. If we flip over to see what else is going on, we've got top part number 2. And we've got bottom number 2. And it actually came in and made our power strip assembly and has each of those bodies fixed in their original location and orientation relative to the other parts. Okay, so that's a nice way to actually come in and make individual files for each of those guys and then pull them back together into an assembly.